It's your boy Conservative34, and today we're going to look at the first North American tour stop in John Mayer's 2019 World Tour as far as his solo World Tour. And John Mayer's been doing a lot this year. Went on leg one of this tour, and this started out in Asia, Australia, and New Zealand. Then he started playing with Dead and Company again, played some of the best shows ever with Dead and Company, and now he's back for Albany, New York, and that was last night, July 19th, 2019. So we want to go over a couple things that I observed and thought about this show. So this was a two-set show. This is something that bands like the Allman Brothers and the Grateful Dead have done in their shows for their time of being bands. And John being inspired by Dead and Company, I would assume that's where he got this idea of, all right, I'm going to do a set one, take a halftime, and do a set two, which is different than the Search for Everything tour or any other tour he's done, to take a break. Lighthouse lights come on, you go grab another drink, grab some food, go to the bathroom, pick up some merch, and then he comes back on stage for a second set. We did ultimately get more music. You can look at 27 unique songs. If you count partials and just snippets of songs, there were 27. Now, some of the stuff you could probably take away. You get to about 24 or 25 songs. So David Ryan Harris, who has toured with John Mayer in the past, always kind of does a little bit of a soulful medley or cover or partial before Slow Dancing, and he does a Prince cover, The Beautiful Ones. That's a very quick partial that he does. You can take away that from the set if you don't want to count that, since it was a partial. In the acoustic set, we have Something Missing. It's only first verse, okay? So that's another one that was really quick, but it was cool to get that little tease there. And then In Your Atmosphere right after that, acoustically, same tuning with the B pulled up, raised B, and it has like a F sharp. The G string goes F sharp. So like that's a same tuning. So he does everything but the second part. So there's a second part where it stops and he comes back up. He doesn't do that. So you can look at 24 to 25 songs. I call it 25 because In Your Atmosphere is played for a length of time that to me counts as a song. You have a breakdown of the albums, and The Search for Everything still gets 7 songs. And I think that's great because I love this album, and I love that it's still getting exposure. There's certain artists, they have a new album, they put that tour out, and I don't want them to play a lot of that anymore. But Search for Everything is a great album. So a lot of stuff that gets people moving and dancing, and a lot of solos that are about less is more. And this is the John Mayer we see from Born and Raised on, where he's not doing these crazy trio type stuff or bluesy solos, although we love that too. He's starting to do more open space, twang, and more reverb. So, you get 7 Search for Everythings, 5 Born and Raised, and 5 Continuum. And this 5 Born and Raised and 5 Continuum even out where that, John's best album and John's album that was his biggest pivotal album are head to head at 5. That goes to tell me that Born and Raised is something that is important to John when he's playing 5 of them in this first show. And, these sets will change, but for the first show, that's what I see from there. And, that's great. And this is Born and Raised to me has aged very well. I didn't like it at first. I was a young 20-something in college when Born and Raised came out. I was not in my late 20s, early 30s, just kind of being like, wow, life hit me hard in my 20s. So anyway, now that I'm in my late 20s, I relate to that more, and it's great to see those 5 and 5. 2 battle studies and 2 heavier things. So battle studies, not played as much. It was played more frequently when you had the other tours in the past, but I think it's good that it is toned back a bit. And they played Edge of Desire, which I didn't catch when I went to 2 shows last year, 2017, but he was still playing. And then, you have 2 heavier things, but again, it's Something Missing and Daughters. Those are acoustic stuff, so they're a little quicker than normal. 1 Paradise Valley, 1 Room for Squares. Know Your Body is a Wonderland. So Room for Squares, all you have is Why Georgia, and again, first show, we don't know, but that's the breakdown. And then you have 2 of these unreleased songs, New Light and Guess I Just Feel Like. These are 2 songs that don't have an album yet. And then you have In Your Atmosphere, which is on the live in LA, but doesn't, again, have a home in an album. That's the breakdown of what he played night one. And I'll be at Providence for the second night of the tour, and I'll give you more information on that. Now let's talk about timing, and when stage, on stage, off stage, etc. So around 7:30, 7:45, the lights cut lower so people get excited. And that's when the show time was, 7:30. 7:55-ish, they get on. The video plays, they start, Belief starts. And then the set break was around 8:55, 9-ish. I have to time the set break, the time in between the sets when I go to Providence today. But I can't remember. All I know is that the show ended around 11 o'clock. I was walking out in the concourse around 11. This show, compared to the shows I saw in 2017, John goes into more deep cuts, especially for a first night. Pretty bold to have If I Ever Get Around to Living, and then to have Love Is a Verb, and then to do Born and Raised in the encore, even though that's a song he's been doing, but to just encore spot one, do a Born and Raised. He is feeling comfortable with his catalog, and he feels that the fans accept anything that he's going to play, and I agree. That's how I feel. And he mentioned on stage how this tour he can just sit back and relax, and the fans have grown these songs. And one of the cool things about this show is, and I mentioned this on a Grateful Dead forum, a lot of people think that every John Mayer fan just likes the pop stuff. But one thing, as a kid growing up during the John Mayer era, what John does is he gets people that typically only went to pop shows or only liked some of the blues stuff or only liked one aspect of him, and he exposes them to appreciate everything about him. Now, certain songs, like If I Ever Get Around to Living, people are going to the bathroom, and there's other songs, some of the people there that just want the hits, they move around, but a lot of the fan base, male, female, young, old, whatever demographics you want to put in the venue, they appreciate everything. They're not just there for Why Georgia, even though, yeah, it's a little louder, but everyone seemed to appreciate whatever he did, okay? And that's something to point out, because people think, oh, a John Mayer fan, they're a pop fan, or a lot of kids like me, I'm 28, that grew up with John Mayer, we were exposed to different stuff. Before Mayer, I knew a little blues, and I was more of a rock guy, alternative rock, a little alt metal, and a little bit of pop, but not too much. But with Mayer, he brought me into exploring fully what Clapton was, what B.B. King was, what the Allman Brothers Band, the poster behind me, what they were. Because he was exposing me to blues. He educated us on blues. He educates us on the sound of country when you have a Born and Raised, and I didn't listen to country music growing up. So the one thing that I'll say about this show is beautiful to see that people appreciated everything. And if you're a fan of all of his music, you're going to get a little bit of everything. It's not the Search for Everything tour, because you don't have these themes and videos. You don't have the trio and then this and that. But you do have a lot of stuff from Born and Raised being moved up for this first show. Continuum. You have Search for Everything still being the leader, but it's not the Search for Everything tour. It feels like it's the Johns playing what he wants on this given day, and he's giving his fans more of a jam band type feel. Not in the sense he's jamming in these songs. These songs are quick, but he's having sets where you don't know what you're going to get. And I love that. That's why I go to see Grateful Dead related cover bands or Dead and Company. That's why I go to see Humphreys McGee. That's why I go to see Dave Matthews Band and some other bands. I think it's great that a mainstream audience is going to be able to go to a show and say, well, I don't know exactly what I'm going to get. I'm going to get 2 great sets, but I don't know what songs I'm going to get that night. So this is a beautiful thing. Let me know what you guys think if you were there. Thank you for those who have some great conversations with my seat neighbors. I think it was Alex, and I remember Elena, because it reminds me of Billy Joel off Elena, but they were sitting next to me, and we were talking, and then there was a nice, kind woman right below us talking, and she knew her stuff about John Mayer tours, and I'm going to go to the West Coast. She recommended me to go to the West Coast. But anyway, it was great. People around me were all great, and just to see some of the comments online, exchanging with other fans on Twitter before the show, after the show. I'm excited for Providence tonight. Providence will tell me more and it'll give us a bigger picture of what, okay, this is one show, what's another show going to look like compared to the first show. And that's still not going to tell the full picture, because when he gets to Madison Square Garden, when he starts getting to other venues, you know he's going to bring out some guests. You know it's going to be lit, where he's going to have some special songs for MSG, you know, because MSG is one of the best arena venue I've ever been to a concert for Billy Joel, 21 Pilots, and a couple other acts. But that's all I got for today. It's your boy ConcertViz34. Like, comment, subscribe. Tons of videos. Everything you can think of. If you're not a fan of John Mayer, or you're a fan of someone else, I got everything. Earth, Wind, and Fire, Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole, you know, Johnny Swim, everything. I love music. I love going to tours. And I love seeing different experiences and meeting people at shows that I wouldn't talk to normally on the street, but we have this shared interest of music, and we exchange and we interact. It's a beautiful thing. It's not on a computer. It's not, you know, watching Netflix, which I'll probably watch later today. But it's an experience with others, with an artist, and you can't replicate that. All right, that's all I got. Peace.